He is a James Beard Award winner, and he's also been inducted into the Barbecue Hall of Fame. Now, Pitmaster, restaurateur, and author Rodney Scott is looking to the future. I speak exclusively with him for the special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. D. Rodney Scott, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
How you doing? It's good. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you. Pleasure to talk to you as well. I know me and you actually ran into each other a couple of months ago on North Market Street. And obviously you are a famed pitmaster, a James Beard Award winner, an inductee into the Barbecue Hall of Fame. Obviously you have a Netflix series, 3 restaurants, and now you're an author as well. What will be the title of another book to describe your life right now, Mr. Rodney?
Unbelievable. If not unbelievable, the title will probably be Dreams Do Come True.
How did you make your dreams come true?
I made my dreams come true by staying, persistent. I refuse to be kept back. I refuse to be, denied anything. I said opportunity is everywhere and I'm going to reach out for it. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to follow my dreams. I think I can do anything.
Anything. How did you reach your opportunities?
I reached my opportunities by just taking the risk, taking that leap of faith, networking with a lot of people, finding out who's who, what do they know, how can I learn from them? Is there a possibility if I can cook at an event with you or for you? I just constantly asked a lot of questions and did a whole lot of networking.
Wow. What more questions do you have now, Mr. Rodney, about barbecue in general?
What questions do I have about barbecue?
Yes, sir. More questions. Yeah.
The question I have about barbecue is when is the rest of the world going to realize that this is a real thing? A lot of people have realized it. A lot of people respect it. A lot of people really, really appreciate it. And it's starting to become one of those dishes that's in more and more of a weekly thing instead of a weekend thing.
Right.
Barbecue's known to be done mostly on weekends, but now you can get barbecue almost every day.
Every day. And I've been eating pulled pork every day for the past couple of weeks, so I'm trying to stay skinny. But let me ask you, Mr. Rodney, what was the world of barbecue before Rodney Scott?
Man, the world of barbecue before Rodney Scott, I don't know. For me being a child growing up, the world of barbecue before I became an adult, of course, it was different. It was done, like I said, mostly on weekends. It was done as family functions. It was done as, weddings, reunions, and it was done a lot at the end of the harvest season. So this would be that time of year that a lot of people would do that barbecue. So before now, me being an adult, all barbecue was basically a weekend thing. Even as a job, as a kid helping out, it was always around Thursday or Friday. It was always close to the weekends, never all week.
Wow. What is barbecue?
Man, barbecue is the universal language. One of them. Barbecue is recognized. I don't care where you go. You can put meat on a fire and you got company instantly. If you don't have company, you got somebody asking questions. So I feel like it's a universal language. Barbecue is a calling of, hey, stranger, you're welcome to come over. There's room at our table for you. And it relaxes all situations, in my opinion, because when you're cooking barbecue and you're serving it, everybody's happy. Everybody's good. So it's a universal language, man.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of which, on your website, you said this quote, everyone has a seat at our table. Our customers are family. Our crew is family. We are all family, spreading food, spreading love, and having fun. The glasses always half filled here. Let me ask you, Mr. Rodney, what strangers have you welcomed to your food table?
Man, I have welcomed a whole lot of strangers to my table. Everybody from kids who understand what they're eating, all the way up to the adult who said, I had the same dream, never lived it out. And I've met everybody from all different countries. I've met Russians, Swedish people. I've met people that have done barbecue in the Cuban style, Hawaiian folks. So I always felt like everybody, you name it, from the child, the mom, the dad, the daughter, you name it, they all are family and they all have a seat at our table.
Wow, that's amazing. I know obviously you started barbecue right around 11 years old, right up the road here in Hemingway. Let me ask you this, Mr. Rodney. From 11 years when you were a kid to right now, what is the biggest difference about barbecue?
Man, the biggest difference about barbecue for me being a kid to now, again, we're doing it every day now as opposed to just weekends. It's seeing the whole hog as being a lot more understood.
Mm.
The pulled pork, a lot of people think of pulled pork as just one part of the hog usually, but for us, the whole hog is definitely a difference that you could taste because you have the loin, the shoulder, the belly, all these parts are together. So the whole hog is being recognized a whole lot more. One example was I cooked in Texas one year, and one guy asked me, he said, "Is that a deer?" Because it wasn't recognized as one of the dishes that they were always seeing in that part of the country. So I feel like pulled pork and whole hogs is definitely a lot more recognized now as opposed to when I was a kid.
A kid. And Rodney Scott's Whole Hog Barbecue in Charleston, South Carolina was obviously born in 2017 out of a friendship between you and obviously your business partner, Nick. And obviously you have mutual respect for the time and technique required to make great barbecue. Understanding the history of the craft, as you mentioned, the difference it makes in flavor profiles to cook over live, cold, direct heat. And the dying art of the whole hog barbecue is what drives them. Hard workers burn down to the glowing embers at the sides of the barbecue pits. What is the difference in that technique?
The difference in the technique of the whole hog and the hot coals are a lot of people, they hear me talk about the wood. We use all wood. So we take the wood and put it in the barrel, in a burn box, and we burn it down in the hot coals. Kind of like what you would see in your grocery store when you find wood lump coals. And the only difference with us, when it burns down and drops and it's still hot, we grab the coals and we put it under our hog, under the hams and the shoulders, and that is a milder smoke. It's a slower cook, and we stay at a temperature of around 250 to keep it going, and it's just a little slower. 12-hour cook time on average it takes to cook a whole hog, as opposed to smaller cuts. It don't even take 12 hours. And my business partner is not just my business partner. That's my brother. That's my main man. Being this guy, we'd have to say tied at the hip. Best man at my wedding. He's my man. We were friends long before we even thought about business.
Wow. What is the state of business right now, Rodney, in the midst of COVID?
In the midst of COVID, the state of business is a little challenging for everybody, of course, us as well. We've managed, our Charleston location has a drive-through, so we were able to manage giving that comfort to some folks coming to our restaurant that they can just reach out the window and grab their food and go. So they felt a little more safe. The drive-through was a big plus for us. Second thing is our restaurant in Atlanta has a pickup window. So if you're uncomfortable, you can walk up to the window outside. You can always stay outside, get your food, and go back to your car, and you can leave. So the state of COVID changed some of our operations a little bit. It was a bit challenging. Our first focus was to make sure that our staff was okay, to make sure that their families were able to eat, because a lot of them counted on our paychecks. So we made sure that they had food. We checked on them constantly, their health, to make sure that they're good. And we also make sure that they don't have the pressure on them of worrying, are they going to be okay or still have a job, because they may or may not have to stay out for a couple of days because they're not feeling well. So it was an adjustment for us as a company and for us as humans, above all. But our main objective was to make sure our consumers were well, our staff was well, and then then we'll try to make some money.
Yes, indeed. And every time I run past, because that's my running route on King Street, so I run past your restaurant all the time, and the line's always out the door, especially when the Netflix Slayer series hits.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I was just there, a couple of months ago with a friend of mine, and he bought me the brisket, and I loved it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And speaking of Atlanta, you told Rob Powell recently that a welcome success was obviously there for Birmingham. Let me ask you, how did Atlanta welcome Rodney Scott's barbecue?
Man, the first 3 days of opening in Atlanta was a challenge, not on anybody's behalf other than our own. We had a few little things we had to adjust, but we made it. But Atlanta was still welcoming to us. It was a beautiful city, very diverse. Everybody from different areas. A lot of folks from Hemingway live in Atlanta. They came by to show their respect. I saw people I hadn't seen in 10, 12 years just come in just to grab something to eat. And for me, that was the biggest welcome, And, we had like the power outage, little things like that going on. But that was still a sign of success for me, to see people that were willing to sit there and wait outside to see if things were going to smooth over real quickly. But very welcoming. Atlanta was very appreciative to us, and we appreciate Atlanta. That's why we chose.
That's why you chose. And you talked obviously about, people you haven't seen in 10, 12 years. Let's go back to Hemingway when you were much younger at 11 years old. What would you tell an 11-year-old Rodney Scott right now?
Man, I'll tell 11-year-old Rodney Scott right now, knowing that where I am now, to pick up on every little thing, learn a lot more about all the subjects in school. If it ain't nothing but English, math, and writing, learn those three things. Stay focused, keep your eyes on the prize, and know that the world is your playground. And I kind of thought like that a little bit, but a lot of times I was deterred because people would say, "You're crazy. That ain't true. That's not how you're going to be successful." But I would tell that same 11-year-old kid, don't let anybody take away your dreams. Stay focused. Keep your eyes on the prize. Do your thing.
Yes, indeed. What do you have your eyes on as far as a prize?
Right now, my eyes as a prize is to spread barbecue love all over the world. I would love to take my style of barbecue to each and every corner of the globe if it's allowed to. You know what? I take that back. I'm going to take my barbecue to each corner of the globe and just let everybody see this is how I grew up. This is my world. This is what we do in South Carolina.
In South Carolina. And speaking of South Carolina, back in Hemingway, when I was just listening to the podcast with you and Rob Fowler just this morning before I got over here at 10 a.m., you basically said, hey, you wanted to be a professional basketball player.
Yeah, I did. I wanted to be a professional ball player. I wanted to play with Moses Malone and Dr. J, Andrew Toney. I'm a Sixer fan. So I always felt like if I hurry up and grow up and be good, I could play beside the doctor. And, not knowing I was a kid, I was dreaming.
Right. Okay. What basketball technique would you use right now for barbecue?
Man, the basketball technique I would use right now for barbecue is no matter how tall that center is in the middle, you take it to the hoop and you dunk it with authority. You make him a highlight reel. Don't let that center defense, don't let him stop you from getting that basket.
That's exactly right. And how do you raise a good hog, Mr. Rodney?
Man, you raise a good hog by making sure he's healthy. You want to make sure he got all of his vitamins and nutrients. You want to feed him as natural as you can, because that can be a challenge. A lot of hogs nowadays, you don't know what some of them are feeding, what some people are feeding their hogs. So you want to make sure that you got a happy hog that's as natural as can be.
Wow, that's amazing. And obviously, I didn't notice too, but you said, hey, barbecue was a chore and duty growing up. What is barbecue to you right now?
Man, barbecue to me right now is a pleasure. It's my career. It's the one thing that I was focused on. It's a pleasure. It gives me pleasure to cook barbecue and to serve it and watch the person that you're serving it enjoy. Yes, it's a lot of work on the backside, but that few minutes of watching somebody eat that barbecue is priceless. It's worth it. It's worth all that time. So to me right now, it's a joy. It's one of the best things that could ever happen. And I know obviously we talked earlier about what you have learned so much more about barbecue in the past couple of years. And I know that you've done a lot of research when it comes to your obviously cookbook and autobiography. What more did you learn about barbecue after doing your research for the cookbook autobiography? Man, in doing that book, I learned a lot more about barbecue, of where some of the ideas came from, where it probably started. Like, for example, I've heard that slavery was one of the biggest pushes behind barbecue, because these slaves would get a whole hog, and for them to share it, they would cook it outside and divide it amongst each other.
Wow.
And they would find out how to cure the meats because they didn't have a lot of any refrigeration. So they found out how to cure meats and save it and pass it along. So a lot of these things I learned about the history of barbecue in Charleston, the connection of Charleston to France. I learned so many different things about barbecue and doing the research for this book. It's just unbelievable. And how many people in well-known chefs that know a little bit about barbecue and are cooking themselves. Yes. It's just unbelievable. Cooking with fire. It's like a universal thing.
Right, absolutely. And what is that one notable chef that relates to you these days?
Man, I'd have to say the late, great Anthony Bourdain. I relate to this guy. I think about this man almost every single day.
Mm.
His style, his approach to food, and the fact that he traveled the world to see how food is made different in different countries, and how the local dishes were not what you would find in the United States. So again, that universal connection that Bourdain had with the world and food, I feel like barbecue is one of those universal things. And he's that guy, man. I mean, so much respect to all the other hosts and people that I know. I love them all.
Yes.
But Bourdain is the one that sticks in my brain on a regular basis.
On a regular basis. What is that non-barbecue dish that you like here locally?
Man, non-barbecue dish that I like locally, I'd have to say the seafood, man. Charleston's a beautiful seafood town.
Yes.
I gotta tell you.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me go back to your book, obviously, Rodney Scott's World of Barbecue. Why a cookbook autobiography? Why now?
The reason the cookbook autobiography started, we started with recipes and stories behind the recipes. And in telling the stories behind the recipes, I was like, you know what? What if I just tell you the whole story? What if we just discuss the whole thing and let the world know what I went through in my world? Mm-hmm. So that's where the autobiography part kind of came in. Let me tell you about my life leading up to where I am. And that kind of led to the recipes. You know, our hand pies started with me and my cousin Curly hanging out at Hardee's.
Yes.
You know, so the hand pie idea came up. The steak sandwich. I was born in Philly. I love a cheesesteak. You know, all of these things that related to my day-to-day life is how the autobiography and cookbook kind of came together, because they kind of lead into what I did and the recipes that we came up with, and also all of the new recipes that I encountered in this journey, man.
Wow. What has this journey been like, Mr. Rodney?
Man, this journey has been the sweetest ride. It's still the sweetest ride. You know, I wake up, my family's healthy, I'm healthy, everybody at the restaurant is healthy, and we get a chance to serve what we believe in, what we think is some of the best food ever. Yes. It's a sweet ride, man, to pass along a smile. And I have a t-shirt that says every day is a good day, and I wear the shirt all the time. And a lot of people see it and they say, yes, it is. They appreciate it. So just passing that message along just makes you feel good. Like, I feel like we're slowly changing the world one step at a time through our barbecue.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, every day is a good day, lifts the spirits of every customer, as you know. What else keeps you personally lifted these days?
The few things that keep me personally lifted these days is, again, seeing my family every morning, making sure that they're good, talking to them every day when I'm not home, and making sure that they're good, speaking to my mom on a regular basis. These are the things that carry me through my day, that makes it so great. And the fact that I'm able to get up and sometimes walk 3 to 5 miles, a little lazy on the run side, but you know, to get some exercise in, to get that peace of mind, that quiet time early in the morning, that makes my day.
Yes, indeed. What do you reflect on when you get out and walk?
When I'm out walking, I reflect on how can I make today better than yesterday, and that goes on to the next day and the next day, and I keep saying it. And as I say it and time goes on, I find myself feeling better and better, more relaxed. And there's no music on this walk. There's no phone calls on this walk. Right. There's nothing. Just me and nature, just taking that walk. Speak to the neighbor. How you doing? Keep on going. Right. You know, that's that time of day that I take to reflect on how great it is to be alive.
Oh, absolutely. I get a lot of phone calls when I'm running. I'm like, I just need some time to clear my mind. Let me ask you, Mr. Rodney, what things that you already known about the food and hospitality business that you still need really a breakdown of?
Everything. I'm going to tell you everything, because I feel like once we think we know everything in the business, that's the beginning of the end right there. And you know, like just last night we did an event, and I learned so much from the fellow chefs that were in the kitchen, because I like to learn as much as I can so I can see how to prepare myself through the lessons that are being taught or shown in front of me. So I feel like I want to know everything. I want to know the finance. I want to know the balance of food. I want to know the balance of flavors. Even though I've been doing it for a long time with the whole hog, I still pay very close attention and try to see if there's any more that I can learn along the way to make it better.
What is that balance right now?
Man, that balance is taking your time, focusing on one thing at a time. Like today, I'll go and focus on how the food's being served. Okay. The next day, I'll focus on how we cooking it. Then I'll probably focus the next thing on front of the house. How are we handling our people? Is everything good? You know, everybody okay? Let's have, happy mood going on in here. We're going to be great today. So it's always one thing at a time, not too much at once. It's like Uncle Billy used to say, good friend of mine from back in Hemingway. He says, you know how to eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
That makes sense.
Only one thing at a time.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, I know you told Rob this too, that you were really hesitant to make the big jump to Charleston, obviously back in 2017. Where were you mentally?
Man, I was hesitant to make the jump to Charleston back in 17. I was mentally thinking, it's a bigger area. It's going to be a bigger challenge. I need more things on the menu. How can I create something fast enough to be on the menu? And back to Nick, again, we are very close. And in discussing and having conversations, he said, just think about, some of the great things that you enjoy and you can put on the menu. And that was one thing that kind of gave me that relief. And me and him in conversation, and I said, you know what? Why not? If the world's my playground and I want to grow, why not take this leap of faith, start in Charleston, see how it goes. And it's been absolutely great, man.
Great. Yes, indeed. And every time I come back from my running route, because I run from downtown to North Charleston and I come back, but I come and stop to your place and I get the potato salad and the filled chicken sandwich.
That's a long enough run to eat that.
Yes, sir. Whew. I'll be back soon for sure. And obviously Charleston's success. Now that you have obviously, Birmingham, why Birmingham?
Why not Birmingham? I'm going to tell you, Birmingham is not only where I visited on several occasions because Nick lives in Birmingham.
Okay.
The same love that I got in Charleston that first year of doing different events in the area, I did some events in Birmingham and I got that same love. So in my mind, these people deserve a chance at me coming to hopefully add to this city. I would love to be here if they would accept me. And after doing a few events and they appreciated everything that we did and how we did it, and I said, you know what, this would be a great place. Yep. We found the real estate. We had the location. Which the question was asked, what would you do, Rodney, if you had the opportunity to open it in Birmingham? And I said, absolutely.
Wow. And obviously that's a playground for barbecue wars, as you know. How do you complement and not complicate the barbecue wars?
Well, I compliment by coming in, with no arrogance. I'm just here to add to. I don't like when customers come and say something about another barbecue joint to me. I try to stop them.
Right.
Because I respect any and everybody in the food and beverage business. We get up early. Some of us stay up all night just to present a dish to you. And to have that disrespected is unacceptable for me. So when I go in, I try to meet and greet as many as I can. I visit their restaurants. I eat in their restaurants, be it barbecue or any other concept. But I show up with respect to the fellow restaurateurs around the area and just come in and say that I'm an addition. I'm not here to replace you. I'm here to add to the choices that you have already in your area.
Absolutely. And obviously I talked about my favorite, the filled chicken sandwich and the potato salad. What food item at Rodney Scott describes you?
Man, I'd have to say the food item that describes me is the whole hog. I'll grab some pulled pork real quick. But overall, the entire menu revolves around me. And up until this past year, I didn't eat collard greens, but now I do. So I guess now the entire menu is me, but mostly the whole hog is the first thing that I would grab.
Wow. And growing up, I still don't like stewed chicken, and and I'm just now coming around to cabbage. So I understand where you're coming from with the collard greens because I was hesitant to eat that as well. But what is that one food item that you, besides those that you hesitated to eat, that you're eating now? Speaking of collard greens, that you want to eat now?
Coleslaw. I was very hesitant to eat coleslaw up until my adulthood. Maybe I have to say 35 years old,
Wow.
something like that, before I started to really eat coleslaw.
Mm.
And when I found out that coleslaw can be very tasty, especially when you add it to pulled pork,
Yes.
I was sold.
Yeah, that's what they have at the restaurant where I work. They added the coleslaw to the pork sandwich, and I thought this was amazing. It's really,
Yeah,
really amazing. Oh my God. And let me ask you, obviously, the popularly expanded menu at your restaurant includes this classic sides such as the potato salad, the coleslaw, baked beans, collard greens, and hush puppies, while offering fresh salads, burgers, smoked chicken wings, and fried catfish among other favorites. What favorite menu items do you want to expand on right now?
man. I've been thinking about that. We expanded to a tomato cucumber salad this past year. That was one of the things. Uh, it's so many things you want to think about that you want to be tasty, that you want to kind of complement barbecue. Green beans are on the back burner for me right now. I keep getting that. Fried okras keep coming at me. So I don't know, but maybe one of those things at some point, but we'll see.
You'll see. And that's another thing too, Mr. Rodney. I'm just now getting around to eating okra.
Yeah, yeah, I'm hesitant myself.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't stand eating okra. It's like, God. But now I eat it with chicken, so that makes it better. Speaking of which, how do you make your barbecue consistent?
Man, that's consistency is one of the toughest things out there when it comes to food and beverage. We make our barbecue consistent by we created a procedure and we work with our pit masters on a regular basis for hours and hours on hand, just making sure that they understand the procedures. And we wrote it down so they have a manual that's usually always posted in the restaurant. So if they get confused or have any questions, they have a picture of what they're preparing. They have the procedure of what they're doing, technique, and everything is listed down. So they have a full layout of how the dish is expected to be made, what's supposed to be in the dish, and how it's supposed to look when it's served.
Mm. And what is that usual procedure? How long does that take?
Man, all depends on what we're cooking. If we're doing the whole hog, that's your whole 12-hour thing.
Right.
So we'll teach them how to start the fire, how to butterfly the hog, where to cut, how to prep it before you put it on the pit. Then the procedure goes on to tell them how to fire it, how long to fire it, what to look and listen for. So it's a very detailed handbook telling them how to do the whole hog. Same thing for the chicken. Same thing for the baked beans. Same thing for the sandwiches that we do. The steak sandwich, there's a picture and there's a layout of how to build it, how to make it, every procedure, every step, all along the way. We try to simplify it so that anybody can come in there and make sure that they understand it and they can stay as consistent as they can.
As they can. Absolutely. And how many whole hogs have you cooked since Rodney Scott's is open?
Wow, man, that's above my pay grade to even figure that number out. There have been weeks we average sometimes 2 to 4 hogs a day. All depends on the day, the time of year. I stopped counting a long time ago. Before I left Hemingway, Christmas week was anywhere from 75 to 100 hogs alone. And, that was when we just opened that 1 week.
Right.
During the holidays.
Oh my.
And coming to Charleston, man, I just stopped counting.
Mm.
I just, a lot.
A lot. Man, that brings me to my next question, Mr. Rodney. Obviously, PRG, the restaurant group that you're a part of, is interested in uplifting and preserving generational restaurants that have roots in traditional cooking, using an eye to the future to create sustainable businesses. How do you hope to sustain your business in the next 5 to 10 years?
Man, I hope to sustain my business through offering the opportunity to grow from within, to give all these people that started hourly an opportunity to move up to possible partnership. I want to move them up. I want to give people hope. I want to inspire them to grow. And to keep that sustainability, we like to try to develop as many people as we can to give them some type of hope or inspiration, if not being a part of the Rodney Scott's family on a partnership level to, extending their dreams wherever else. But we feel like giving them an opportunity to grow within our company is one of the biggest things to keep Rodney Scott's barbecue sustainable.
Sustainable. Who is your hope and who inspires you?
Man, my hope. The person I would have to say that inspires me a lot would be so many different people, so many people around me. You may find this a little weird to say, but a lot of my inspiration comes through people that have doubted or extend negativity towards me or anything that I do. Because when they say you can't, that inspires me to say I can. So I'd have to say quite a few people. And, me and Nick, we talk a lot about moving on, moving forward, staying stable and consistent with what we're doing. We talk about so many different things that he would have to be one of those people that's on the positive side that I always conversate with. My wife as well. And I got to tell you, man, every time somebody says something a little negative, I feel inspired to move on to the next thing.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
Yeah.
How do you, Mr. Rodney, have fun with barbecue but not doubt yourself?
How do I have fun with barbecue and not doubt myself? Music. I party when I'm cooking.
Oh.
And I try to deliver as much love and respect into that cooking technique as I can so that I feel that it's right. I know that it's right. And I can not only feel confident about it, I can deliver it to the table with confidence and a smile. And it makes me feel good, man. It's an unbelievable feeling.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of which, what is on your table right now?
Wow. This morning?
Yes, sir.
A bacon sandwich. As much as I try to lose weight,
right.
As much as I try to stay toned,
sure. I
still got to support this thing.
Yes.
My morning started with a bacon sandwich. I had some bacon and just bread, and
yes,
that was it. Bacon, bread, and mayo. That's what's on my table this morning.
On your table this morning. What's going to be on your table next?
This afternoon, with it being the weekend, my table today, I would probably chase down some seafood for lunch or dinner. That will probably be on my menu today. And with the weekend coming up, being a holiday weekend, it's probably going to be some ribs, hot dogs, and burgers somewhere along the way.
Oh, man, that's exciting. What will be on your table in the future as far as Rodney Scott's barbecue?
Oh, man, as far as Rodney Scott's barbecue, we're going to have Rodney Scott's barbecue in every corner of the globe that we can. We're going to have it all over the United States if we can. We're going to have so many people building careers out of the Rodney Scott's barbecue company. We're going to have people enjoying South Carolina style barbecue in some of the places that you never thought you'd find it.
Where have you found barbecue in the most peculiar locations?
Arkansas. I remember we were going through, was it Arkansas? Kentucky. I'm sorry. It was Kentucky.
Wow.
We were going through Kentucky, and it was the very first time that we ran into this little barbecue spot. We stopped to get something to eat, and their pulled pork sandwich was sliced. So what you thought was a pork sandwich in Carolina, it was a sliced piece of pork that they barbecued. So you ask for a pork sandwich, they slice it off, and there you go.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so being in that part of Kentucky, I was like, wow, this is a whole new world of barbecue. And to get a sliced pork sandwich, just totally different for us. But that was one of the most interesting things that we ran across in one of these tiny towns. We just saw a barbecue sign and pulled over, and we had to get some.
Wow. And I have two more questions for you, Mr. Rodney. But obviously, okay, what will be the world of barbecue in the next 5-10 years?
I think the world of barbecue in the next 5 to 10 years is going to be one of those things that you see people celebrating anniversaries at. You're going to see people having business meetings at. You're going to see people taking their lunch break from all types of jobs at. It's going to be a date night. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be one of the biggest concepts in the food and beverage industry.
Yes, indeed. And obviously, your brand, vinegar pepper base. How do you keep that grounded, despite the wars between ketchup, mustard, vinegar?
Well, for me, we do have a couple of different sauces.
Yes.
Now we have a Kathy sauce, which is a little thicker and sweeter. We have the other sauce, which is ketchup and apple cider vinegar in it. We also have a white sauce.
Yes, that's my favorite.
Yeah, thank you. We have a white sauce as well. So to stay, calm throughout the sauce wars. Hey, every day's a good day, baby. There's no need to have a war. Your opinion is what it is.
That's right.
We're here to compliment, not complicate. So we just keep our heads down, keep cooking, and trying to serve the best food that we can.
That's all you can do. Yes, indeed. Well, the Rodney Scott, legendary pitmaster and restaurateur, thank you for your time here on Quintin's Close-Ups and hope to have you back soon in the future.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.